4 families, 4 front doors that closed behind him, and a vet who looked her dead in the eye and said most people would have already ended this. The woman holding Storm's adoption papers that morning had no idea what she was walking into, but she signed anyway. What happened next took 847 days and changed everything she thought she knew about love. Nobody could handle this Bengal. Vets said put him down. She said no. 4 families in 5 years, 4 front doors that closed behind him, each one a little more final than the last. His name was Storm, a Bengal cat with a coat like liquid gold and black rosette spots so sharp and perfect they looked painted by hand. He was breathtaking to look at and nearly impossible to live with. Bengals are not ordinary cats. They are, in the most literal sense, part wild. Bred from Asian leopard cats and domestic shorthairs, they carry something ancient in their bones, a restlessness, an intelligence, an intensity that most people severely underestimate the moment they see that gorgeous spotted coat and think, I want one of those. Storm's first owner bought him from a breeder at 8 weeks old and returned him 11 weeks later. No explanation beyond, he's too much. The second family lasted 4 months. The third made it 6 weeks before calling the rescue center and saying he had drawn blood from every adult in the household. The fourth, a couple who had owned cats their whole lives, gave up after 9 days. 9 days. By the time Storm arrived at the rescue center for the 3rd time in 5 years, the staff already knew his file by heart, and his vet, a calm, experienced woman who had seen thousands of animals in crisis, pulled his new potential adopter aside and said something she rarely said out loud. Most people in your position would already be talking about putting him down. I want you to understand what you're considering. The woman who heard those words was Rachel, 43 years old, a high school biology teacher, and someone who had fostered difficult animals for over a decade. She had seen fear. She had seen real aggression. But when she looked at Storm through the window of his isolation room, pacing, tail lashing, green eyes tracking every movement with the focused precision of something genuinely wild, she didn't see a broken animal. She saw an animal who had run out of reasons to trust. She signed the papers. The drive home was 47 minutes. Storm screamed for 46 of them. The first week inside Rachel's house felt less like a pet adoption and more like a hostage negotiation where nobody had agreed on the terms. Storm didn't hide. Hiding would have been manageable. Instead, he moved through the space like he was mapping it for combat. He launched from the top of the refrigerator at 2 a.m. He shredded an entire section of kitchen baseboard in one afternoon. The moment Rachel reached for her car keys, not her coat, not her bag, just the keys, Storm was already airborne, claws extended, landing on her forearm with a force that left marks she still carries today. She called the vet on day 9. Tell me honestly, is this fixable? The vet paused for exactly 4 seconds, Rachel counted. I don't know, she said, but I know it takes longer than 9 days. Rachel had spent 20 years teaching teenagers who had already decided they were failures before they walked through her classroom door. She knew something real and hard about what it means to stay in the room with someone who is actively trying to push you out of it. She decided to apply every single thing she knew. She stopped reacting. She started reading. She documented Storm's patterns the way she wrote lab notes. She discovered that his pupils dilated to full black exactly 12 seconds before an attack. Not 10, not 15, 12. She learned that if she caught him at that 8-second mark, placed him calmly in the bathroom with 0 emotional charge for exactly 12 minutes, something reset inside him every single time, like a circuit breaker, precise, repeatable, real. I see you're still here, but you haven't subscribed yet. Honestly, that stings a little. Hit subscribe. You'll want to be here for what comes next. She worked with her vet through all of it. Storm's anxiety ran so deep, so far back into his history, that medication became part of the conversation. Rachel researched for 2 weeks before she said yes. Within a month, the constant humming baseline tension that had lived inside Storm's body, like a second heartbeat, began not to disappear, but to soften. Just enough for the work to land. Just enough for something to finally get through. She harness trained him over 6 weeks, then leash trained him. Then, on a cold Tuesday morning 4 months into their life together, she walked him outside for the first time. A Bengal on a leash in a quiet suburban neighborhood, sitting perfectly still while a 7-year-old girl from next door reached out and touched his head with one finger. Storm didn't move. Then came the morning nobody expected, least of all Rachel. She was fostering a pair of 5-week-old kittens, keeping them completely separated from Storm. A cracked door, controlled distance, no pressure. She wasn't ready to test it, but Storm found the gap on his own, and instead of what she feared, the lashing tail, the coiled spring tension, the explosion, he did something that made her stop breathing entirely. He lay down flat on the floor, chin on his paws, and watched the kittens through that small gap with an expression she had never once seen on his face in 214 days of living together. Not aggression, not calculation, something that looked, against every piece of evidence she had accumulated, like gentleness. Over the following days, he lay still while a kitten the size of his paw climbed across his spotted back like it was a mountain. The same cat who had launched from a refrigerator at 2 a.m. The same cat 4 families couldn't keep. The same cat a vet had quietly suggested might need to be put down. Rachel sat down on the floor next to him that evening. She didn't say anything for a long time. Some stories are too good to keep to yourself. 847 days have passed since that 47-minute drive home. Storm is not the same cat. He greets Rachel's students when they visit for tutoring sessions now, not with suspicion, not with that coiled spring tension, but with something approaching ease. He has destroyed 2 rugs, 1 laptop charger, and a full houseplant. She accepts this completely. She stopped expecting him to become a different cat a long time ago. She accepted him, not the version she hoped he would become, but the version he actually is. If you are thinking about adopting an animal with behavioral challenges, understand this clearly. Patience is not passive. It is the hardest, most active, most demanding work you will do. Some animals arrive carrying years of fear, years of being handed back to strangers. That doesn't disappear in a week. Progress comes in 12-second windows, in tiny resets, in one quiet morning when you realize the attacks have become less frequent and you didn't even notice when that stopped. Before you adopt, be genuinely ready, not just emotionally willing, but practically prepared. Learn what that specific animal actually needs. Talk to professionals, visit shelters, give your time, your consistency, and the kind of love that doesn't flinch, doesn't escalate, and doesn't give up. Because sometimes the animals that require the most from us end up teaching us the most about ourselves. Storm didn't need a perfect home. He needed someone who would stay. She stayed. Could you have stayed for a cat like Storm, or would 4 families have been enough for you too? Tell me in the comments.